What's up? It's Jeremy Picker from Amber Creative.
This is Deanna with In the Zoning and Print Girl Mafia.
This is Ray Weiss with Printing United Alliance.
You're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs RG, Regular Guy, and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Fashion to the people.
All right, welcome into the show. It is Friday, September 26, 2025. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery with our Success Group and American Print and Supply. And Terry, this week we are joined by our good friend Cassie Green with the Apparelist, and she's going to be talking to us about why hands-on events matter even more now during these tumultuous times that we're kind of in, and just in general. Obviously, this is a busy time of year for Cassie and all the team over there at Printing United with the expo coming up, and I think it's interesting, you know, as they dig into the different things that they're doing, that they're focused on the why, and so we get to have Cassie on this week to really understand, you know, why they put in so much effort to making Printing United and the events that. You know, again, these hands-on events that we always talk about, we've always been big proponents of that, Terry. So excited to chat with Cassie about that today.
Yeah. Make sure you stay till the very end for the secret sauce. Dane Clement, the Two Regular Guys resident art guy, is going to be showing us how to make a print for DTF, or make a print DTF ready. So this is going to be a really good one for all those DTF folks out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to this. Obviously, in my world these days, you know, DTF, and I'm sure at Printing United, we'll see lots and lots of amazing stuff there. So, you know, no matter what your equipment is, Terry, you know this from all of that you do inside the space, you know, garbage in, garbage out. So
exactly right. And, you know, even if you're not printing yourself, lots of folks are contracting out DTF printing. And again, it's all about the artwork. So make sure you stay tuned.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I love having a resident art guy, right? We get that, and it even better is freaking Dane Clement, the art guy. So that's pretty cool.
Art guy, you're right.
All right. Yeah, definitely. Terry, we have our news segment that we always look forward to as well. Just you know, I love the fact that as an industry, right, we've got such a broad range of folks that we can lean on and learn from and listen to, and Teresa Hagel from ASI is one of those people, and we're excited to have her join us here and share some news that's happening in the space, you know, both apparel and promo related. So
absolutely, let's hear the news.
Let's do it.
Hi everyone, Teresa Hagel with ASI here, bringing you the latest headlines. First up, S&S Activewear has filed a lawsuit accusing Promo Hunt of illegally accessing data. The Counselor Top 40 supplier has filed a lawsuit against promo tech service provider Promo Hunt, alleging unauthorized data scraping, trademark infringement, and violation of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Promo Hunt is accused of misusing S&S's proprietary data and trademarks, misleading users into believing a partnership existed, and disrupting S&S's contractual relationships with its customers. Promo Hunt CEO Tony Wavering said that while he can't comment on pending litigation, his company takes the matter seriously and denies any wrongdoing. Next up, we have some internal ASI news. ASI has announced the 2026 CEO transition plan. ASI announced that President and CEO Tim Andrews will retire from the company at the end of March 2026 after 23 years of leadership. The Cohn family, owners of ASI and Andrews, have agreed on the transition timing and are working closely together to ensure a seamless process. The family has engaged Russell Reynolds Associates, one of the world's most experienced CEO search firms, to lead the process of finding the next CEO. And finally, Stalls shows off on-demand production at SF1 grand opening events. Last week, Stalls held a grand opening event for its new Fulfill One facility in Chesterfield, Michigan, positioning it as a hub for print-on-demand innovation and collaboration. The facility showcases multiple decoration methods, including DTG, UV printing, embroidery, laser engraving, and direct-to-film, and integrates the Fulfill Engine platform to streamline low minimum order processing. Leaders at the event said automation and industry-wide collaboration are key to growing print-on-demand adoption throughout the promo industry. And that's all I've got for you guys today. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Teresa, for sharing that news. And definitely interesting stuff in there, Terry. So anything stand out for you?
Yeah, the print on demand with stalls. I have been reading about that, and I always wonder about, well, are we competing with our customers? But gosh, it seems like everybody's offering those services. So,
Interesting.
but
Yeah. No, I definitely, I mean, I remember way back years ago when, different programs that I was involved in, that is always a good question. At what level are we just competing with our customers? So cool.
well, and a U.S. screen in a different context. You remember you and I were in dealer sales. We worked with dealers all over the world.
Yeah.
But we also had individual sales reps who were trying to sell to end customers, and there's always kind of a conflict I felt.
Yeah, definitely was a delicate balancing act that I'm not sure, we always got right. And I think in general, right, the same thing it applies here. Same thing applies with any of our relationships that we have out there with our customers, right? At the end of the day, we got to put ourselves in our customers' shoes and ask the questions that they might be asking, right? Because the reality is they're probably going to just leave as opposed to ask you that question.
Right, exactly right. You never know. It's the old I went out of business because of the economy. No, you didn't.
Yes, you forgot who your customers were. Yes, for sure. All right. Well, good stuff there. Thank you, Teresa, for sharing and appreciate you bringing the news to us. And we love having Teresa in our rotation, and we're excited about the rest of the year and 2026 going forward with that segment. I think I would say, Terry, that's been one of the best decisions we've made.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep, for sure. All right. So we've got Kim Johnson checking in from Oklahoma.
She's there this week.
Yep. Good.
For a funeral.
Yep. Well, glad that she's checking in. Good to see her here in the Two Regular Guys. Terry's going to be using the pool without you, it sounds like. So, Charles, good to see you, Charles. We haven't seen you in a bit. At least I haven't seen you. So great to see you here. And hello, Doug. Appreciate you checking in as well. Much earlier, we had Chuck Peterson checking in with us as well. Good morning. And I think Chuck meant to use quotes on that one, Terry, though. So, Eric, if you would pull that up one more time from Chuck. He says, Good morning, gentlemen. I think there was quotes there. I don't know.
Loosely termed gentlemen.
Yeah. Sorry. I think I'm funny. In my head, that was hilarious. So, all right, Terry. Well, speaking of hilarity, I think you've got a dad joke for us. Are you ready?
Yeah, Cassie's here, and she's in the intro. She always says the best dad joke, so I feel like we have to step it up when she's around.
Yeah, let's see what happens here.
All right, let's do it. So, Aaron, my grandkids asked me what I used to play on the iPad when I was a kid.
Oh, really? So, what did you tell them?
I told them I used to talk into a fan and sound like a robot. Now let me see if I can see Eric. No, he's shaking his head.
That's a no-go for me. So when I read this on the outline, Terry, I immediately wanted to go find a fan because I was like, oh, that was so much fun.
I definitely used to do that as a kid. So
yep, for sure. Same. All right, Terry. Well, let's get into our show here. So
yeah, before we dive in, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We need your voices still. We would love to have the regulators participate in our show intros. Go to osg.link/intro. Read a few sentences. Be a part of every show. Don't be left out. We are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2. the number 2, regular guys, to book a future episode or email us at info@tworegularguys.com with your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts. Wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. And if you're watching us live, please join in with your comments and your questions for Cassie.
Absolutely. Looking forward to talking to her, but I always love having the regulators participate in the questions. We're gonna bring our list of questions. That's our role. But sometimes the best stuff comes out of what you guys share that are tuned in live right now. So speaking of tuning in live right now, we got Mr. Alan Howe joining us. Hello, Alan.
Hey, Alan.
Definitely. All right. Well, shall we get Cassie in here, Terry?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. Hi, Cassie. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. FYI, Terry, for your dad joke, died laughing because all I could picture in my mind as a child is when we used to say, Luke, I am your father.
Yes.
These kids don't know what they're missing. That'll probably be a new app for the iPad, the Fan.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. Hey guys, I got to go. I need to go take care of that app. That's a perfect idea.
That's like Aaron when Jay Bassell was on the show and mentioned that he didn't have a website with his name. And while the show was going on, you bought jaybassell.com.
I actually did that. And I did give it to him, by the way, you guys, just FYI. I did not hold him hostage. So
Cassie, you've been on with us 100 times, but as a guest, give us the brief Cassie 101. Tell us about your journey in the industry.
Sure. And Terry, every time I'm on this show, just incredibly grateful to be part of the Two Regular Guys. What an honor. It never gets old. It's always fun. So thanks for creating such a great environment. I am the content director for Apparelist, which is Printing United Alliance's media brand that supports and engages the decorated apparel community. But if you really want to dig into my history, and every time I say this and it gets longer and longer, it's kind of crazy to me. So I have only ever worked as a journalist in the printing industry in some form or another. So right out of college, got hired with NBM, Printwear Magazine, which is now Graphics Pro. So I worked with Printwear Magazine for a really long time as a staff writer. Then I took over as the executive editor for A&E Magazine, which was more on the laser engraving, UV printing, hard goods side of things. Was the editor for Graphics Pro when they rebranded for a hot minute, and then joined the Alliance in 2021. So always ever worked in this industry. There's just no way I'll ever leave. It's such a cool community of people, creators. And so now just, working really hard in the apparel side to really sort of fill this big space where we know apparel decorators are really good at screen printing. They're really good at heat applied graphics. They're really good at, embroidery, thanks to Eric largely, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. But where we really found that apparel decorators were looking for education had revolved around business practices, right? And we're all creative minds, but running a business is not easy, as both of you can attest to.
Yep.
So there are things like accounting things that you need to deal with, hiring practices you need to deal with, and HR. There are things like safety and making sure your shop is OSHA compliant. All of those things that apparel decorators are looking for, we try really hard to provide. So of course we have a lot of technical knowledge and training and education at apparelist.com, but we really also try and engage on that business practices side too. So it's been an amazing journey. Let me just say.
Yeah. Amazing. Wow. Great stuff. Yeah. And Alan Howe says she was my editor at Graphics Pro. So yes, absolutely. Mine as well. Cassie, you obviously brought up education. That's a big part of what Two Regular Guys is all about. You've always been very close to it. Since I met you, I could tell your kind of passion for making sure people had information. They were educated in a way that allowed them to be holistic, like you were just talking about. And I know you're also, obviously, as we are, I think Terry and I talked about this at the top, we've always been big advocates for this idea that we need to get hands-on in this space, right? And so my first question for you is, why do you think that's the case? Why do you think hands-on learning is especially important for decorators in the world that we're living in right now today in 2025?
Oh my gosh. So this question could go real deep, real quick. The short answer is this is a tactile industry, right?
Yep.
What we do in the apparel decoration space is very much engaging and interacting with technology in a hands-on way. So you could read all of the screen printing articles you want. You could watch all the YouTube videos, and there are tons of great ones. It's a great way to learn. But to really truly understand the impact that all of the technologies have and what they're capable of, you have to see it truly. And this was the same when I was coming into the industry. It was great to read all of the articles. It was great to watch all the training videos. You know, Stalls puts out great ones. Ryanette puts out great ones. They're great, but I didn't really get it until I was inside an apparel decorating shop. It's one of the first things I did when I was brought on as a staff writer, right? And to actually see the technology working, it's hands down the best way to learn. And especially with so many people still getting into this industry, my gosh, we have everything from people who just opened up shop yesterday to people who have been doing this for 30, 40 years. And the technology moves so fast and improves so much, I feel like, at an almost overwhelming rate that you can't keep up unless you're on a trade show floor, you're at an open house, you're participating in some sort of hands-on training thing. You just can't, there's no substitute for it. I don't know how else to say it. It's just a really great way to learn.
Yeah, love it. What a great answer.
Yeah. Aaron and I love the Apparel Zone.
Terry, by the way. Sorry, go ahead, Terry. I was just saying, when she said 30, 40 years, I was trying to point at you.
Oh, I was thinking the same thing.
Sorry, Terry.
But we love the Apparel Zone at Printing United, and it's become a hub for decorators. What makes this a useful model of hands-on education?
Mm-hmm. So I will say, like, for anybody who's ever attended a trade show, the best part about it is you can visit all the exhibitors and see their equipment firsthand, right? And there's always going to be demos in every exhibitor booth. The special part about Apparel Zone is that it is not sales oriented.
Yep.
Our sponsors and supporting people in that zone are truly there just to teach attendees about the decoration technology. Of course, there's direct to film there, direct to garment, embroidery, heat applied graphics. And so you can truly go there. So whether you're a beginner in apparel decorating, or maybe you're even a wide format printer, you might be a commercial printer, implant printer, whatever, you can come to the Apparel Zone and know, okay, I'm not necessarily getting sold to here. I am just here to learn. And I'm here to actually see the technology work, talk to the experts about how it might complement my business or expand my business, or even just be a jumping off point for my business. And it really is a comprehensive way to look at how does direct to film fit within my screen printing business, right? And you can actually see it firsthand, all of the capabilities there. Plus we have the Apparelist Live Theater, which, we can talk about this a little bit later because Erin's going to be a huge part of it. And Terry has been a part of this zone before as well. It goes hand in hand with seeing the hands-on technology. So now you can also sit and learn and have, again, the experts talking about the technology. How does it apply to your business? How does it help you become a better decorator?
Yeah, it's kind of a safe space, when, especially for a newbie coming in. That I want to know about that, but I don't want to hear a sales pitch yet. So.
Yeah. No, that's a really good way to put it. Terry, what was it that Greg Kitson used to tease you about? Not that you ever were, but that's why it was so funny.
Well,
predatory salesman, right?
Yeah, exactly. I walked into the back of his seminar room right when he was saying, "Be cautious of predatory salesmen," like Mary back here. So, of course, Cassie, we had to immediately make a shirt in our booth.
We did. It was one of those wanted posters with Terry on it, looking for predatory. Yeah, hilarious. I like that concept, Terry. Though, yeah, just like a safe space, right? And so, well, okay. speaking of safe spaces, the robots are coming for all of our jobs, I've heard, but not true. But the reality is AI is definitely buzzing. Um, Obviously, a lot of the stuff that I've seen coming up for Printing United, there's definitely going to be a focus on that. You guys even have an AI Pavilion, that type of thing. But you know, when it comes to AI tools, what are some of the takeaways you're thinking people might be able to gain out of the Apparel Zone, just the expo in general?
Yeah, I think it's like you said, Aaron, the biggest takeaway is that this is not coming for your job. Okay. So we can all stop being afraid of AI. Okay. Yes, there are some downfalls of AI. There's downfalls with everything. Let's be real, right? And so the biggest thing that decorators and even printers in general need to understand, AI is a complementary tool for your business. And that's really what we're focused on at the Alliance and then at the AI Pavilion at Expo, is teaching people how not to be afraid of it and how to use it in a realistic way. So, your first thought is always AI can be used for graphic design. Is it replacing graphic designers? Absolutely not. That couldn't be farther from the truth. AI, again, is a complementary tool, right? You can brainstorm, you can use it to come up with concepts, designs, and building blocks, but you as the designer then can learn how to take that and really make it shine, right? I'm sure plenty of people listening know who Michelle Moxley is.
Yep.
She's kind of one of the leaders in AI, and she will talk about open and honestly about how something can be over AI engineered. So this still very much requires people. So it's about training yourself. It's about learning what it's capable of. But beyond graphic design, the AI Pavilion will teach people how to use it in other areas, to take data and numbers and really identify where are the blind spots in your business? Where are you losing money? Where are the bottlenecks happening? And when it's used in that way, it can help you, again, build a better business. And we want to be here to help printers understand that. And again, bring in the experts, right? We're here as a connecting entity to make sure the printers have access to the experts, to the sources, to these tools to become better. And that's really what it's all about. It's about training. Again, it all just comes back to education and training.
Yeah, that's the take there is definitely. And I love that you brought up Michelle, because when we had her on the show, right, I definitely got that sense. Like, she's a obviously a power user, but she's also very real about the limitations or the challenges that we might face there. So, yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, and I'm looking forward to, like you said, just getting other people's perspective on how they're using it. It can be an amazing tool, but we can also overuse it too. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I'm a big AI user. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people would say AI might be coming for my job. I don't see it that way.
No.
I
Same.
use this as like an efficiency thing. It helps me in the areas that maybe I'm not as good at, or just processing things that, maybe take a little less of my time so that I can really dedicate my time to some of the higher hanging prioritized fruit in my, job daily tasks. And
Absolutely.
that's what you have to really look at it as, is like, hey, if I can use this as a tool and I can be better because of it, why wouldn't I?
Absolutely. Yeah.
The iLearning with Printing United, Aaron and I did a DTG class, I think eight segment class, and I was saying to Aaron, man, my parts, it took me a couple hours to come up with all the questions at the end of it. And Aaron's like, oh, I just used AI and did mine in about a minute.
Yeah. But
I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that?
But I think the cool part about what you just said, though, Cassie, I think people can probably understand, is it's not, I didn't use AI and just go, here, AI, do my job for me, and then here's the regurgitated. And no, I used AI to get me there, and then I used my brain to say, what are these parts, right? Where's my part? I mean, like you said, for journalists and in the writing and stuff like that, it allows you to go deeper, and I do love that about it. Gives you that time to go a little bit deeper. So, all right. Well, we've talked a lot about AI here. So if you want to certainly learn more, come to the expo, and you're going to hear all sorts of great, amazing, interesting stuff there from different people. Cassie, I want to ask you this. I think we can all be honest with ourselves and say 2025 has not been all rainbows and ponies as much as we'd like it. Right? And I like to live in the positive. But the reality is there's been some tumultuous moments, and I think we're still in the chaos a little bit here and there. Right. And so I know for me, I'm really looking forward to the expo just to kind of find some peace. But I guess I want to hear your take on how an in-person event could help decorators kind of find that clarity or direction that maybe they're feeling a little lost right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like you, Aaron. I perpetually live in positive land. Sometimes to a fault, people are like, yo, you got to tone it down a little.
And I say, tough luck. That's it. Just like you. It's like, nope, not happening.
But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The reality is there's been a lot that has caused some upheaval in the industry this year. And there are a lot, look, we do our State of the Decorated Apparel survey every year. We do it twice a year. And what we're hearing from decorators is, yes, this has been some hard times this year. We are also hearing there's a spirit of optimism. There's a lot of people looking forward to, the good that is coming, and maybe a little bit of settling of the dust, but I don't think we're out of it yet. But as our chief economist, Andy Paparozzi, likes to say, you can't let this tank you. And even Terry, when at the beginning of the show, you were saying a comment about the economy crashed my business. Well, no, the economy didn't crash your business because you didn't take advantage of opportunities. Your business crashed, right? And I am a huge, huge believer in that. When times are tough, it is absolutely imperative to look at your business and say, where are the missing opportunities?
Yeah.
What am I not doing right? What are the blind spots? Where are the things that I didn't consider before? Where do those things live? How can I push the envelope? I think we all learned our lesson in COVID-19, right? And a lot of businesses did close their doors then. But the really successful businesses that made it out of there are the ones who are the forward thinkers and the envelope pushers. And that's what being at the expo provides, is you might find something that you didn't previously consider. You might see a technology you didn't previously consider. You might talk to another attendee who says something that just might be your light bulb moment. Like, I didn't even consider that, right? And you won't have those conversations unless you come out of your shop and actually talk to people in an environment that's safe.
Talk to people?
No. Actually, whoa, guys, like this might be a mind-blowing thing. but like that's just it. Is it the temptation can be like, oh my gosh, I have to stay here. I have to fix all these things. If I leave, everything will just go to hell. Not true.
Yep.
Like, this is your moment to take advantage of an opportunity to talk to your peers, to talk to experts, to talk to the suppliers, and really figure out where am I missing opportunity? And there's just no substitute for having those conversations with people other than being at expo and seeing it for yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and I talk to a lot of people, Terry, that, say, yeah, like our human nature, our tendency is to go to the cave, right? The comfort zone, caveman and woman syndrome there, so to speak. But I've always said, and I always kind of carry this flag a little bit, is when you feel like you need to go to safety, right? The tumultuousness, the overwhelm, the stuff like that, that is the number one sign that you need to lean into the communities, lean into, so get on the plane and go to expo, even though, like Cassie said, you feel like you don't, quote unquote, have time for it. I would argue that you don't have time not to.
Well, I think, we're preaching to the choir here with our group here, because, I've been attending trade shows for decades and really built my business based on, I used the full-size legal pads when I was going to all those seminars making notes, and I would just come home with pages and pages of ideas and notes and people I met. So let's talk about that a little bit more. Cassie, what role does networking play in shaping a decorator's long-term business success?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, when you go to attend an in-person event, particularly a large trade show like Expo, your knee-jerk reaction is to be like, well, I'm going to visit this exhibitor, this booth number, and you make a list. And that's smart. Like, that's something you absolutely need to do. That's why these shows exist.
Yep.
But perhaps equally important, or in some cases more important, is the networking with your peers. So let me use an example. This year, we're doing this new thing called Spill the Ink. And it's a zone in the show where we will have tables and moderators. I'll be a moderator at some point throughout the show. Some of our other editors will be, and even some like decorators will also be moderating conversations. But it's where people can go, sit down at a table, and just be like, what are you doing about this? For example, the staffing issue. We're having hiring problems. We can't seem to get good help in. You can sit at a table with your industry peers and be like, what are you guys doing? What is it that we as an industry can do to help with this challenge or this issue? And even if if every other person sitting at the table has the same problem, you can sit there and brainstorm together, because we all know, like, verbal vomit, as you talk, you often stumble upon ideas, solutions, answers, building off what each other has to say. And again, virtual events are great. Sending an email to somebody is great. It's not the same as actually sitting in a room with someone, talking about it, and just sort of building off of each other. And so, Terry, I think, again, preaching to the choir, we all know that this is a huge, huge piece of attending any trade show or any in-person event, but you have to take advantage of it. It's only as good as you make it. So if you're an attendee who goes to the show and you just kind of like quietly sit in the corner, or you don't participate or whatever, you're going to get something out of the expo, but maybe not the full experience. So I really encourage people, like, ask questions. If you see someone standing at a booth for an exhibitor and they're asking questions, talk to that person. Be like, hey, I overheard you saying this. I also have that same issue. Here's what we did about it. The knowledge sharing that can happen just like on the fly is so valuable.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you how many times I've seen people attending, standing at a booth, and all of a sudden they start talking to each other, and then out come the business cards and exchange, and you find you find a resource, or you find somebody that you can confide in or talk to once you get back to your own shop, who isn't necessarily your competitor across the street, but it's somebody that you can talk with that isn't going to be competing with you.
Yeah. One of the things, Terry, to build off that is, I distinctly remember, this was maybe in 2023, we had invited somebody to the show that I happen to know from the engraving world, had never been to Expo before. And I found him on the show floor and was like, hey, how's it going? He's like, I have no words. And this is a guy who can't normally stop talking. But he was
it wasn't me, by the way, you guys.
It's not Aaron. No. And he was just like, I have no words. He's like, not only have I seen technology I just didn't even know existed, but he's like, I found this other printer who is not, like, we exchanged business cards, and now he's going to do some contract work for us that we previously had to say no to because they didn't have apparel decorating in their business. But now, because he has this contract decorator, they have it and they can say yes to stuff. And that, like, I'm not sure, honestly, he would have found this connection and even realized he needed this connection unless he had not. He attended the expo, he found it.
Yeah.
Right.
Amazing.
Yep. 100%.
Agreed. Terry, before you get to the next question, though, I don't always mean to take it back to volleyball, but it's just who I am. So we won in the men's indoor volleyball. We won the 2028 gold medal at the Olympics, and the head coach put it based on what he called co-opetition. Right. Like he had people competing for spots. So they were competitors, but they were also working together to make each other better. And that's immediately what I thought about when you talked about, kind of talking to your, again, Terry, even if they are next door, there's still going to be some synergies there, I think, potentially. So I think that's really cool. Yeah. And then one other thing I had to share, if you are having an HR problem, having a hard time hiring, make sure that the table you sit down at has Jed Seifert in it. Okay. Just FYI.
It's so funny you say that. As soon as Cassie said that, I'm thinking of Jed up there on a panel going, there are lots of employees. There's
Yeah.
lots of people to hire.
We'll let you talk to Jed, but seek him out, please. I know that he can solve your problem if you have an open mind, and we'll listen. All right, Terry, what else do we want to ask Cassie here?
Well, Cassie, we've sort of talked about this already, but what do you say to a shop owner who says, I can't afford to take the time or the cost to attend an event like this?
I would say that's really short-sighted.
Yeah.
Because look at it in the same way as you would look at investing in a new piece of technology or a new piece of software or whatever.
Yeah.
You might look at it and say, man, I really need this. I know it has value. I just don't have the money. Okay, yes, that is tough. I understand. Like financially, you do have to make all of those considerations and you have to look at it from a big picture. But the decisions you make now will absolutely impact your business in the long run. So if you say now, I can't step away, down the road, if you did not make a connection with a partner, if you did not find that new piece of technology at the show, all of these things you could have accomplished had you just gone for one day, I just think you're going to regret it. We can't let today's scariness or today's panic impact the future of our business. We have to constantly be forward thinking. We have to constantly be thinking, what in the long run is going to help me? What is a long-term success? And both of you have written, I feel like, copious amounts of articles for me and for other industry publications about this. You can't get stuck in the rut. And complacency is so dangerous. And I think if you're staying in your business and saying, oh, I don't have time, that to me is complacent. Yes, you are working hard. Nobody is discrediting that. Nobody knows more than the few of us on this conversation, more of like, obviously these business owners are hustling and they have to work hard, especially this year. But don't be so stuck in that mindset that you turn off an opportunity that's knocking at your door.
Yeah. You know, if you're in a situation where you physically can't leave your business for a day, that's another whole problem that you need to deal with.
Absolutely. Oh, so good. Thank you, Cassie and Terry. I love that thought. There's a bigger issue at hand that you probably need to address well before Expo here. All right. Well, Cassie, I want to shift gears a hair. You talked about the Apparelist live theater. Always great stuff. I remember last year sitting there actually listening to Jed and some of the other panelists there. Tons of great stuff. As you mentioned, I'm super excited to be part of that. I get to participate. Rob Super and I from American Print and Supply are going to be talking about a couple things. One of them being, what to look for in a digital vendor. We're really excited about the topic, and obviously that's what we're into each and every day. But I think, why do you think this opportunity to come and sit down in the Apparelist, other than the fact that you also get to sit down after walking this massive show floor? Sometimes in some of my seminars or in these types of events, I'll ask, okay, and who's just here for a seat, right? So, that just say this one. But all joking aside, our topic that I read the release that you guys had with all the other topics. I was like, oh my gosh, this is such amazing stuff. I wish I didn't have so much to do. I would just sit here and learn the whole time. Why is this important for apparel decorators?
I think it really goes back to, again, getting that education without sort of like a salesy pitch with it, right? So Aaron, you're a huge leader in the education space in the industry. And the fact that you're participating in this speaks volumes, because it means that this is a space you can go to truly just learn. And I mean, obviously your session, I'm also very excited about, and you guys have another session as well. But this is, again, really about equipping attendees to then take away pieces of information, advice, suggestions, things they haven't tried before, and then go home and apply it to their business. So by sitting in the Apparelist Live Theater, again, you're just doing your business a service, a huge benefit. And it's for owners, it's for managers, it's for print production people. This is for everybody. This zone, this space is for anyone who is doing apparel decorating, who is interested in apparel decorating, just wants to know more, can come learn more. And it spans a lot of topics. So, Aaron just talked about his presentation, but we also have presentations about embroidery on demand. I mean, come on, we got to talk about all this stuff, right? And so that's truly just a place to come and learn. That's it. That's all you're going to do at the Apparelist Live Theater. You're just going to get a healthy dose of knowledge.
Yeah. And here's what I love about, again, reading all the topics and looking at it, and what is important for us as we talk about our topic is not just you're going to come and get some information that is kind of like these veiled sales tips, right? Like every time I've sat in, I've experienced something that made me say, oh, right. Like a little bit more depth, like, oh yeah. Okay. Now I see that, right? Like if I would have just taken that at face value, I maybe would have gone down the wrong path. But when we start asking more questions, we start saying, hey, what are the right questions to be asking here? That's what I love about these types of programs, when it really is truly just about getting a deeper level of education out there.
Yeah.
And you're not interrupting. We as speakers loved when the hands go up.
Please. I would go, man, what did I do wrong if nobody said a word like it? Either I confused the heck out of them or I did a really good job. So I'm going to go with I did a really good job.
There's no in between.
I will say last year we had to kind of cut everybody off on stage because there were so many questions. And I love that. That's how it should be.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. In fact, we've in ours have put in, I need you guys to show up and ask questions, because I cut it down to make sure we have plenty of time for that. Otherwise, we'll be standing here going, no, we'll figure out something. But all right, Cassie, I've got another question for you here. And this is, people are going to go, oh, this is an Aaron question. Mindset, obviously, to me is so important, so crucial to a successful business, really, honestly, so crucial to a successful life. Cassie, you and I talking about being annoyingly optimistic is what I call it. But when you think about the expo and here, what's a mindset shift that you think an event like this, what are you hopeful people will walk away from with a different aspect of how they think about things?
I really just hope that people coming into this who are like, oh man, the industry, this and this bad thing happened and I'm having this problem. I really hope you rather go at it of a mindset of what can I learn?
Yeah.
And that was crazy enough. So the SF1 Stalls Fulfill Engine 1 event that Teresa mentioned in her news segment, I was also there.
Nice.
And Carlene Gray, the CEO, said, approach every event you attend with the question of what can I learn? Yeah. And I think by shifting that mindset, you're not being annoyingly positive. You're just making a good business decision. And it's that simple. I really just think it boils down to that mindset shift of what can I learn?
Yeah. Love it.
When I first started attending trade shows in a previous century, I walked in thinking, if I can learn one thing from this session that makes my business better, makes me better, it was worth that hour that I spent here. So I think that's kind of that mindset you need to have as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
So, Cassie, any lessons decorators can take home if they can't attend the expo? Is there any takeaways that they can get if they can't make it this year, but make it next year?
Yeah, please. First of all, please come next year to Vegas, right? Shameless plugs aside.
Yeah, perfect.
Listen, I get that's the reality is you can't always attend, and that's fine. We understand like that does happen, and that's a very real piece of doing business. What you can take away is call somebody who could attend and be like, what did you learn? What did you find out? I mean, listen to all the podcasts that will be recorded, because we'll have a podcast booth where most of us editors and then some industry names are recording podcast episodes there. Listen to those wrap-up podcasts.
Yeah.
Our editorial team's putting out tons of content live during the event and after. Pay attention to those, because they are not just shameless plugs. We don't cover this event just to be like, look how awesome it is. No, we cover it because we know our audience needs to hear what's going on there. Whether it's a wrap-up article about an educational session, whether it's our Connected Threads newsletter that we do like a daily wrap-up about the technology we've seen and the conversations we've had, we will video record all of the sessions at the Apparelist Live Theater that we will roll out after the expo that you should watch. If you can't be there, look, we're giving it to you for free. Watch it. Like, why wouldn't you take even 10 minutes and just watch chunks of it, right? And so those are the things you can still be doing. If you can't be there in person, pay attention to the content that's coming out during and after, because you will still take away, like you said, Terry, at least one piece of information that can help your business.
100%. All right, Cassie, this has been awesome. Can you let everybody know how they can register to attend, learn more, connect with you, check out the amazing content that you share on the Apparelist?
Yeah. So first
All
way,
those things.
right. That's a lot. Let's just go through the checklist. First up, printingunited.com. That's where you can learn everything about the expo. You can register. You can find all of like the agenda and the so many different pieces of what's going on during the expo, because it's so much more than just the show floor. We have after-hour events. We have stuff happening before, like Media Day. There's so much. Just spend some time at printingunited.com. Second place I'm going to send everybody, again, shameless plug, apparelist.com. It's very easy, right? That's where all of our content lives. We have lots of expo coverage there, but beyond that, just lots of educational articles. And so those two places, first and foremost. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very active. It's just Cassie Green on LinkedIn. I love to answer direct messages. I love to share posts. And then please email me directly if ever you need anything. cgreen@napco.com. Listen, one of my favorite things to do in this industry is to get a phone call from somebody that's like, hey, I have a question about this. Hey, do you know someone who does this? Hey, what about this? If I don't have the answer, I'm going to find you the person who does. And I promise you, like, I take this personally. I will find you the answer or the person who can get you the answer. So yeah, please reach out. We're always here to help.
Awesome. Cassie, thank you so much. This has been wonderful, and love talking about this, and can't wait to see you out there in Orlando.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We'll see you there.
All right.
See you.
Bye, Cassie.
That was awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So you guys make sure that if you have not registered already, go to printingunited.com, as she mentioned there. If you go to the attend button and you want to get onto the show floor for free, you can do that. You just have to use our code, which is 2RG25. 2RG25 will get you into the show.
Hey, Aaron, speaking of the Apparel Zone, when Kim worked in the Apparel Zone in the Epson/Equipment Zone booth, there were people who just basically hung out there all day long, just going to all the different little areas, of education. So it's a really cool spot. So make sure that you get over there.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned earlier, that it's kind of become the hub. And so like, as I talk to people like, oh, you're going to be out at Expo? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, going, oh man, how do I hook up? I'm like, you know what? Just come to the Apparel Zone.
Right.
Most likely I'll be there. If I'm not teaching a class, I'll probably be there.
We need to get on the schedule, by the way, to record a show there in the fishbowl.
Yes, definitely. I'm not sure, Cassie, I'm not sure I've seen that yet. So if I missed it, let me know. Doing work while we're on air here. I love it. Yeah. All right. Speaking of doing work, what's happening for you? Terry's going to be on the road here, you guys. I'm excited about it.
I am. It's just like the old days. I'm going to be in Dallas next week at Impressions Expo along with Aaron and Eric. I'll be in the Equipment Zone booth. That's October 2nd through 4th. We'll be at Printing United October 22nd through 24th in Orlando, probably hanging around in the Apparel Zone quite a bit.
Yep.
My complete screen printing business course, last class of the year, will be in Chicago at Atlas Screen Supply, November 1st and 2nd. So you can sign up for that at atlasScreenSupply.com and watch for all of my upcoming events at terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
Yeah, as you mentioned, we're going to be out at the Impressions Expo, Terry. I know you're not going to be happy about this. At least I'm not, because it's next week. It's coming quick. So that is happening next week. I get to actually share and facilitate some education out there as well. So on the, what date is that? 3rd of October, I will be teaching one of my favorite topics here. It's part of my mission in life is to provide people with a different way of thinking. And so the title of the presentation is Uncommon Mindset, Uncommon Results. So how to stop operating like everyone else. And so I'm really excited about sharing some thoughts I have about different ways to think of things in a different perspective that might get you unstuck and move you forward, right? Like you said, it wasn't the economy. It was the way that you took, Cassie said, the way that you took those challenges on. So they got that happening. October 4th, I'm actually going to be moderating a panel, Cutting Through the Noise, Finding Success in the Wild West of DTF. Super excited about that because I have a really awesome range of people. Dane Clement, who you're going to see here in just a moment, is actually on that panel. So we get his perspective from kind of that art creativity side. We've got a gentleman named Dan Frank, Silver Screen Fulfillment, coming in. He's a power user of DTF technology, sharing some of his learning experiences that he's had over the years. And then Rob Super, the CEO and founder of American Print and Supply, just kind of, I'm going to ask them hard questions. Say, tell us the truth, right? We're not here to sell anything. Tell us the truth. And looking forward to that. So if you'll head to impressionsexpo.com, you can get registered for the event there. And then, as we've talked about this whole time, Printing United happening the 22nd and 24th. I've got 3 classes there. Not even going to take the time to share them all. Hosting and emceeing the annual media event. And as Cassie talked about, we've got some sessions in the Apparel Zone as well. So I will be very active there, and I can't wait to see all of you out at that. So that's happening. Let's see here. Eric, just FYI, we just want to give everybody the heads up. He is resting his voice. He's got a bit of a respiratory bug. So even before we got started here, it's like, Eric, don't talk, man. Get him back to health here. So no take up today. You can watch Eric's social media for further announcements there. He's trying to get himself all back to 100%, or at least as close to 100% as poor Eric gets, because the guy runs himself ragged. But he will be out at the Impressions Expo in Dallas. And there's still time to sign up for his October workshop that he's going to be doing with Joe Kramer and Katie Wubin, the Technique Toolkit, which will be all about mascot embroidery and digitizing, including applique, uncommon threads, multimedia, and understanding style and substance of mascots. So, and if anybody has an extra mascot head, I'm still efforting, just FYI. So if you want to head over to impressionsexpo.com and use the code SPEAKER100, that'll get you 20% off of that workshop and probably all the other classes. So yeah, you use that code right there, SPEAKER100. So without further ado, Terry, we still have time for our art guy. Shall we do a little secret sauce here, Terry?
Absolutely. Let's hear from Dane.
All right, let's do it.
Hey, everybody. Dane here from Stalls. I was sent a file that's going to be printed at the Printing United show, speaking of so much here in this episode. And we're going to take a look at it and see what we might be able to do to make turn it into a quality DTF print, for instance. So let me go ahead and share my screen. We go. Okay, here we go. My Mac is not wanting to work. Yeah, wish we had time to do this earlier. Let's see. Dude, it does not like my system anymore. What happened? Let me just do this. Let me see. No, still nothing, right? Okay, I've only done 1,000. It's definitely you guys. It's not me. never me. Let me just try it this way. All right. What about this? How's that? Anything different? You can see it? All right. Okay. So I don't know if you can see can you see menus up here, like file menu, edit menu? See? Yeah. And then, yep. Sure, I will try. That would require me to remember. I mean, this is tough stuff. So, all right. So, just so you guys know, this is what I was sent, right? And this is, design created for the Apparel Zone, obviously. And a couple things I would mention. This, if you look at it, would not be the greatest DTF print as it is, only because it is a big, solid image, right? Solid chunk. And if we printed this, you would definitely feel a heavier hand than you might want, right? So we can work with that, though. We'll see what we can do. Second thing I would consider, if you're going to send your artwork files out to somebody to work on, print or do anything, it is kind of nice actually to have the original file. So I'm in Photoshop here, and if you look at my layers menu, I have all the things. I have things that eyeballs are not turned on. Or are they supposed to be on? I don't know. So those kinds of, you see, like there's a bunch of layers up here that eyeballs are off. So just a note, if you're going to send the layered file, two things. One, that is helpful if there's an adjustment that needs to be made, but the person printing it knows that they're supposed to make that adjustment, would be great. If not, then I would say just get it like you want and say, this is the image I want to print, and then just export it as a PNG file and you get this, right? I happen to just place it on a black background because we're going with black shirts here for this particular lesson. So the reason I say do it this way is because I can't accidentally turn on or turn off layers that are not supposed to be there. Maybe there's a logo layer that you use for something and ain't supposed to be in the next one. Who knows? So if you give all the things available to mix and match, somebody can mess it up super easy. So if you export it as a PNG, it's on a transparent background. I just happen to flatten this on a black because it's going to be printed on a black, and I want to remove the black from my image. So that's why we're starting here, right? So the next thing I would do is I could go to image menu, adjustments, right? And I could bring up, let me see. I'm going to bring up my curves. I'm going to show you what I used to do. You used to punch an S curve in here, right? And you can see my image sort of get adjusted, right? So I'm punching up my colors and my highlights and I'm pulling down on my shadows. That's great, but that's not how I recommend optimizing your files, right? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get it full screen here. These are the steps that I use all the time. I've been using this since version 4.5 in Photoshop, like probably mid 90s. If I get an image menu, I come down to adjustments, right? I'm going to go to selective color. And if you look at this image, it looks great, but it's a lot of gray information in here, a lot of hazy looking stuff. It's part of the image, so we can't take out too much. But if I go down in this colors list and then a selective menu, and I put in 3s in all these boxes, right? Just hitting my tab, making it 3, turning on and off my preview. You can see what we're doing. We're getting rid of, I call it gray fluff. It's just gray matter that's in every image, right? So we can kind of see how far we can push this thing before we negatively affect it, right? So let's do it this way. This is all 3s. So let's try 5s, right? So I got 5 in all the boxes. I can turn it on and off. And that might be a little bit too much because I'm starting to lose the ship a bit. So I went from 3 to 5. I'm just going to punch in a 4, right? 4 as I know, it's the only other number in the middle. So if I do like this, I'm going to go with that. So you can definitely see we removed a lot of the gray information. I'm going to hit OK. Next thing I'm going to do is image adjustments, hue saturation. And I'm going to juice it up. I'm just going to go to my saturation slider a bit. And they got some wonky gradient fills and all kind of weird, layer styles. Layer modes involved. So I got to be careful what they did in the original file. But here, nope. Another thing to remember is no one's ever going to have the original art next to the print. So as long as the print looks great on whatever color shirt it's going on, the better off you'll be. So this looks pretty good. We just juiced it up. I don't know, plus 17%, right? So next thing is image adjustments, brightness and contrast. I'm going to hit this use legacy button in Photoshop here, and I'm going to punch in a 5. and I'm going to hit OK. And all I'm doing is I'm punching in a little bit more. You can see your screen, I kind of stare there. I'm just adding a little bit of contrast extra to this image, right? So I'm going to go with that. Next thing I'll do is I'm going to change my mode. I'm going to go to lab color, only to sharpen this guy. Go to my lightness channels. That's my luminosity of my file, right? Just the color. That's just the black and white detail, basically, or all the detail on the image. This is where my color lives, right? This, we're not touching any of the color, so we're not going to affect that in any way. So if I go to, whoops, if I go to, let's do this again. If I go to filter, and I'll come down to sharpen, and I go to unsharp mask, right? We're going to sharpen this image up a bit. So I'm going to go to my main subject, my ship, right? So if I hold my mouse down in this little window, that's my original, and here's my sharpen. It's just sharpening a little bit. The way this artwork was done, it looks like they may have been a lower res file worked up kind of thing. So we don't want to go too far, but I'm already at 177%, so it looks pretty good. I'm going to hit OK to that. I'll change my mode back to my RGB, right? So this is juiced up color wise. It's kind of cleaned out. We got some of that gray out of there, and it's going to be a pretty nice black shirt. So now we're going to make it a DTF print, right? The transfer. So we go to my layers so you can take a look. I always duplicate my artwork. I'll turn it off. And with my top layer selected, I'm going to go to the select menu at the top, and I'm going to come that color range. I will click on the black in the background because I'm just trying to select all the black in here. Now, this fuzziness slider is where all the magic happens, right? And it's set to 100%. I typically start there. Sometimes I'll go to 125. Sometimes I'm all the way up to 200. It just depends on the image. But what I want you to see is look at this image, this preview. So if I go to 125, right, look how much more is taken out. Now, that's probably too much for this particular image because if you notice the ship here, there's a lot gone, but it's mostly black, right? So these are the judgment calls you got to make. Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 125, or we're going to go with 125. I think I'm going to kind of do this again. It still takes a little bit out, but personally, I think what makes a good shirt is good contrast and good saturated color. So that's what I'm going to go with. And the cool thing is we can always make it judgment calls in a minute here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit OK, right? So I selected all the black in the image. I'm just going to hit delete. And right now you can see we got rid of the black, most of the black. We got the transitional areas are still in there, but the meat of the black is gone. And what that means is when I make my transfer, because I'm going to make some halftones on this thing so we get a good DTF print, all that stuff that you see through here is going to be the black shirt showing through, which means my print is going to be a whole lot softer handed. It's got that much meat taken out of it, right? So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and put in a new layer here underneath, and I'm going to fill it with black, right? So alt backspace is my foreground color. So I'm going to hold my command key or the control key on your PC, click on the artwork layer itself. I'm going to create a new layer. I'll turn these off so you can see what's happening. So I'm going to fill this with black, right? And the reason I did this is going to become my mask in my image. So you can see that's, if I would have just taken the artwork like it was and printed my file, I would have all this stuff inside this rectangle would be solid. So it's solid white, solid color, major heavy handed, right? So right as you see here, those are holes that we've made into the artwork, which is going to let the shirt show through. All right, so I'm going to duplicate this file. So image, come down to duplicate. I'm just going to do that. So what I need to do now is we're going to go to bitmap and we're going to make our halftones. So in order to get to bitmap, we got to make a pit stop in the middle here. So I'm going to go to image mode and I'm going to go to grayscale first. And you get this window. So it says merge or don't merge. You can merge it because you're going to have to anyway to get where we're headed. So I'm going to discard all the color, right? So now if I go to image mode again, now bitmap is available to me. It was grayed out a second ago. So I'm going to go to bitmap, flatten layers. Yep, because you don't have a choice, right? So halftone screens, 300 pixels per inch is my output. So that's a high res file. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And these are the numbers that I use for my transfers, right? So if I'm going to make a DTF transfer, I'm going to use a 20 line halftone. And for us screen printers out there, remember the old days, 32 line halftone, black shirts was like a big dot so we can hold on a screen. Well, we got 20 now. So because the detail needs to that dot is big enough for us to hold the white ink, the color print, the white ink, and the adhesive powder, right? So you need all those things to be able a spot big enough for that stuff to hold. So when you print it on that carrier sheet and you smash it down and peel that carrier sheet away, it's enough of the adhesive and all the things to stay on the garment that you're decorating. So that's why I use 20. I'm going to hit OK to that. And you can see there, as I zoom in, they're halftones now. All right, so now we got to go back to grayscale, image mode, go to grayscale. I get this window, size ratio 1, that's default, just hit OK. So now I'm going to pull this tab out, right? So I'm just going to drop it down here. I'm going to go to my channels, and here's my gray channel. So if I click on this gray channel, I bring it into my working file, right? And I let it go. I just moved it. See, it says Alpha 1 in my channels list. And I'm going to go ahead and come here. I'll turn this off for now, and turn these on here and here. And I'll just go ahead and I'm going to flatten this guy for a second. Now, if I load in, so this right here is not my halftone. See that? That's just my transitional working layer. That's what we use to get the halftone. So that's not what we're looking for. So I'm going to come here to my artwork. I'm going to go to select menu at the top. I will load my selection. And I'm going to choose this Alpha 1, right? We just drug in here. I hit OK. So there it is. So now that artwork is the halftone pieces that we just created using that mask is selected. So as long as my artwork layer is selected, if I hit Command or Control J, and I do like this, and I take a look. So right now, this is ready to go to the printer. These are our halftone dots. You can see it looks like there's some black in here, which there is, but look at all the holes, right? So that black is going to transition into the hole, the actual empty space on the shirt, and that shirt's going to show through. So this is how much openness we have now and how soft our print's going to be. So I put in a solid black t-shirt layer underneath it, right? So that's what it's going to print like. It's going to look great. It's going to be soft-handed, and yeah. So that's it. That's what I got for you today. So I will tell you this: I will be in Impressions next week as well with you guys. I have, I think, 4 classes. I got an all-day workshop on screen printing artwork, an AI artwork class. I have a Photoshop 101. That's going to be fun. It's been a minute since we did Photoshop stuff. And DTF class. There you go. All artwork related, obviously, because that's my zone. So if you're going to be there, come see me. Come check them out. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. As Charles said, such a helpful seminar. Really good stuff. Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah. I know Collegiate Press wide format said, we're gonna work on that. We're gonna get that figured out. For whatever reason, when we share that screen, we're not able to see all the boxes that pop up and all the things that Dane was doing there. So yeah. Dane's got so much free time in his hands, though. I'm going to ask him to re-record that for us. So, you know.
That was great information, though. Great.
Yeah.
Although I kept getting stuck on him saying, I don't want to lose my ship.
All right. Well, like Dane said, make sure that you check out all the stuff that he's got going on out there in Impressions in Dallas. And then he will also be out at the Printing United Expo. So this is a guy you need to get to know and follow him. If you can actually go to his personal website, which is supported by Stalls, and it's daneclement.com, or head over to Stalls and you can connect with Dane that way. So thank you very much, Dane. Great stuff. And Jay Bassell said, is Dane still juicing up and punching up pixels? I missed this guy. Maybe we can have a mini class reunion in Orlando. So
yep. Sounds like a plan, Jay.
Yep, definitely. All right, Terry. Well, what a great show today. Appreciate Cassie's time. I know that she's super busy right now, so for her to take a full hour out of her schedule, we really appreciate that. Make sure that you tell her you saw her on the Two Regular Guys when you say hello out in Orlando or wherever you see her at. So we really appreciate her time, and make sure that you're signing up at printingunited.com to come visit us all and say hello in Orlando.
All right. And even though he was under the weather all week, we appreciate Eric Campbell for showing up and pushing those buttons and turning those knobs. And I'm sure hopefully he's going to go and rest after this show. Do you think we might catch one of those computer viruses from him?
Yeah, I hope not. I am drinking Emergency in my water, though. So before shows, I always take a little extra vitamin C just to make sure that I stay healthy. So maybe that's maybe something. I'm sure Eric does have a doctor that can take care of him, so he should be okay.
That's right. Makes house calls.
Yeah, exactly. Just for him, by the way, folks. All right. Well, next week we are going to be in Dallas, as we just mentioned. So stay tuned. We don't have it specifically planned out yet. We're still trying to get everybody's schedules kind of pinned down. But the goal is to have a host show. Might be at an odd time, might be after hours. There might be a beer or two. I don't know. We never can tell when the two regular guys are let out of our cages. Wild things happen. But here's what we would love from you guys, the regulators. What would you like us to tackle? What topics, right? What content would be helpful for you and your business right now? And let us know. And maybe we can grab somebody. Maybe we'll drag Dane in and sit him in front of our computer and say, okay, do it again. So anyhow, let us know. And that will be happening next week. I'm not exactly sure of the time yet, so stay tuned.
All right. Well, we'll see everybody in Dallas. Hopefully many of you will stop by and say hello. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the two regular guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Two Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Two Regular Guys.